Stella is a woman who works as a stockbroker. Later that day, Angela, Stella's sister, tells Vanessa, her other sister, that she's thinking of introducing Stella to one of Kennedy's buddies who's a judge. But Vanessa believes that the man shouldn't have much hope for Stella because she's stuck on stale. Suddenly, Stella appears, saying that she heard their plan, but she's just there to relax. Angela tells Stella that she needs a man to be there for her and her son. Stella replies that Walter is still Quincy's father. The following day, Stella takes Quincy to the airport because she's sending him to spend time with his dad for 2 weeks. Before leaving, Quincy tells his mom that he wants her to have some fun while he's gone. At night, Stella sits alone in her house to play piano, and then she revisits her memories through some old pictures. But suddenly her attention moves to the TV, which is announcing a trip to Jamaica, perfectly tailored for her to get away from work. Judge Spencer calls her, and as he mentions stuff they could do together, Stella sees the scenes happening on the screen of the TV. After Spencer hangs up, Stella comes up with the brilliant idea to leave a voice message to her friend Delilah and invite her on a vacation to Jamaica. But she immediately regrets it and sends another message, bailing out on her idea. However, Delilah returns her call and tells Stella that they must go. So both friends fly on their own and find each other at the hotel in Jamaica. Delilah and Stella spend some time together, but then Stella goes grab some breakfast. A named Winston sees her and asks if he could join her. Stella agrees. Winston asks if Stella has a partner and mentions that he's 20. So he's surprised when Stella says that she's 40 because he believes she looks younger. Winston invites her to the pajama disco tonight, which is just what it sounds like. They wear bedclothes and party. Stella says she won't go, but he hopes she will. Later, Stella goes to the beach. Delilah introduces her to 2 men, one named Buddy and the other named Jack. Delilah tells Stella that they're going to Rick's Cafe tonight, but Stella doesn't want to go there. At night, Stella shows up at the pajama party, and she loosens up enough to dance with Winston. Delilah also shows up at the party with Buddy and Jack, so she's very surprised to see Stella having such a good time. But as soon as they tell everyone that they're allowed to show more skin, Stella freaks out and leaves. When Stella is in her hotel room, Delilah visits her to find out more about Winston, and she agrees that he is really good looking. Stella and Winston are getting so close that they make out. Things were getting heated for Stella, but Winston turns down the fire by rubbing an ice cube around her back. The moment is so uncomfortable that Winston excuses himself to go to the bathroom. But when he comes out, he grabs Stella, and they take things to the bedroom where they touch each and every corner of their bodies. After they finish, Winston tells Stella more about his ambitions, such as the fact that he wants to become a doctor, but he postponed med school for now. Stella shares that her true passion is making furniture, so Winston asks her why she's not making it anymore. Stella replies that it is because she's making money now. The next day, Winston visits Stella in a rush because he's the assistant to the head chef at the hotel, and he has a meeting with the boss in about an hour. Winston is really sorry because he wanted to spend all day with her. So Stella asks him at what time he will be free. Winston says that he will have to work tonight and tomorrow. He's pretty much on call for the rest of the week since someone got fired at the last minute. Stella replies with lots of attitude, telling Winston that it's been fun and the next time she's in Jamaica and playing those high school games, she'll call him first. Winston insists that she wants to keep seeing her, and he has 2 hours available each evening. But for Stella, that's not enough. Stella complains about this with Delilah, so her friend reminds her to look at the bright side, which is that this is the most fun she's had in years, and she should return Winston calls. At night, Stella tries reaching out, but the chef says that Winston is not there. Stella returns home, and finds both of her sisters there. Vanessa has some bad news, and that is that she had an accident with Stella's car. Apparently, a woman came out of nowhere, making Vanessa bump into something, but at least no one got hurt. Stella couldn't be bothered. Vanessa instantly notices that this is not how her sister would usually react, so her instincts tell her that Stella must be in love with a 20-year-old boy. Stella denies that, but it's written on her face. Angela says that she's glad it was just a fling and won't be seeing him again because she should be ashamed for being so desperate. Stella returns to work and asks her boss Isaac about what's going on around there because she can't access her computer. Isaac explains that their numbers are down, they had 3 rough quarters, so essentially they're letting her go. Stella is really pissed off because she made millions for the company, so she expects that at the very least they compensate her well. Now Stella is at home spending time with her son Quincy, who asks if they could go on a family bonding vacation to Jamaica this summer. Stella says that even though they're not broke, she has to find a new job and deal with some lawyers. Unexpectedly, Stella receives a call from Winston, who says that Delilah gave him her number when he tried to go say goodbye. Winston wants to see her, so he says that in 3 months he can take sick leave. Stella says that in that case, she could arrange something to go see him. After some time, Stella takes Quincy to Jamaica, where he gets to meet Winston. After Stella and Winston have some fun, she opens up about how she feels betrayed by the company she works so hard for. Winston comforts her, and the next day, Delilah calls Stella to check on her. Stella says that Winston is fine, but he's still just a kid. Delilah tells her friend to just have fun and enjoy life, but she forgets to mention that she's in a complicated medical situation right now. Winston is taking today Stella, Quincy and Chantel, Stella's niece, to his parents' house. Stella is really nervous to be meeting Winston's parents. Winston's mom doesn't beat around the bush and asks how old Stella is. Winston's mom is only 1 year older. Winston's mom calls her desperate and leaves. Winston apologizes on her behalf. But they get into an argument, so they leave Winston's house. When Stella arrives at her villa, she sees a note with Dr. Steinberg's phone number, so she calls him. The doctor says that he tried reaching out because Delilah has her next of kin, meaning Stella is the person Delilah assigned to be notified in case anything happened to her. Dr. Steinberg says that during surgery this morning they found her cancer had advanced to the liver, so he suggests that she comes to New York right now. Stella hopes in the first flight she can find and goes to see her friend. Delilah is not feeling her best due to medication, but Stella does what she can to cheer her up. Unfortunately, Delilah passed away soon after. Stella is now at her funeral. Winston is also there. Stella speaks some sweet words for her friend, and thanks Winston for being there. Winston tells Stella that he loves her, but she says that he couldn't. Stella returns home with Winston, and he gets to meet her family. Quincy surprises her mom, saying that his father is there. But everyone gets along super well. Stella is able to confess her love for Winston for the first time. The next day, Winston wakes up when she hears Stella crying because she misses Delilah. Winston hugs her and says that she doesn't have to forget her friend. Later, we see that Stella is focused on trying to fix her life by getting a job. She really appreciates that Winston will be taking Quincy to Little League practice. But she doesn't like how some younger women stare at Winston when they go to the movies. But she had a lot of fun watching the movie. When they come out, they bump into Angela and her husband, as well as Spencer the judge and his date. Spencer tells Stella that if she's still interested, the offer of going for a run still stands. Stella doesn't say anything, but Winston replies that they would very much enjoy that. The next morning, Stella visits Angela to tell her that she didn't like the way she introduced Winston as if he was some child because that's her boyfriend. Angela apologizes for being rude. Later, Stella goes out to a fancy restaurant with Winston. When the bill arrives, Winston says that he will cover it, but Stella wants to put down her card. Winston doesn't like that she's paying for everything, so he convinces her to let him pay. Stella tells Winston to pay the mortgage next month if he can afford taking her out. The night ends in an endless argument. But the next day, Winston surprises Stella with some equipment to get back on making furniture. Then Stella is notified that the company noticed how her absence was affecting them, so they're offering her a place as an executive VP with a great salary. But Stella turns down the offer. Winston surprises her with a ring. Stella says that she will give it a little more thought to his proposal. After a while of waiting, Winston realizes that he has to do something with his life, so he's ready to go back to his country and get into med school. But when Winston arrives at the airport, Stella surprises him, making him consider staying to study and agreeing to marry him.